in its proceedings compared to that when they heard President Marcos Jr.'s complaint, and
Hello.
also the no ultimate
Labo.
facts. Do you agree first that there were no ultimate facts in the allegations?
Let us go first to double standard, no? Because we lawyers only use one standard: what is compliant with the law and procedures. And I have read the impeachment complaint against the president, there were no ultimate facts, just opinion. In fact, they were not based on authentic, because when the rules on impeachment of the House requires authentic records and personal knowledge. The complaints against the president, the impeachment, failed in both. There was no witness with personal knowledge, and there were
Pwede
no authentic
mag-skip.
records attached. For instance, his bias in spending the budget. There was no testimony or document. His being a drug addict. There was no doctor's report. All of them are not based, and in fact, they got from media, and even the media sources, unlike the media sources in the House, were not authenticated by anyone. So
So
there's
what
double
makes
standard.
this different?
What makes the House, well, what makes the third and fourth impeachment complaint, which survived? Remember, the first and second did not pass the 1 year ban rule. It was filed even before the 1 year ban uh, lapsed. No? What makes this different is it's very evident. The ultimate facts are there. The defense is saying there is no evidence, but there is a difference between ultimate facts and evidentiary facts. And it is, in fact, it is the defense team that should know the difference, because now they're saying we will present our evidence. We will not say anything in the House because we have evidence. That means they know the difference between ultimate facts and evidentiary facts. And the ultimate facts are clearly expressed in both Sabari complaint and the other complaint. So not only are there ultimate facts based on personal knowledge, which is the first standard, there are authentic records and authenticated records from government agencies. That is the difference between the BBM complaint and the BP Sara impeachment complaint.
Among the accusations presented in the House Justice Committee, allegations from confidential funds to former Senator Trillanes's accusations of a joint bank account, non-declaration of these accounts to the SALN, etc., video threatening the life of the president. What for you is the strongest and most impeachable of all?
I think if I were to summarize the 6 or 7 impeachment grounds stated in the impeachment complaints, I would collapse them into four. Into four: the issue on confidential funds, the issue on the sound ends, the issue on bribery, and the issue on assassination and defense. To me, the two most glaring and the two most undeniable and incontrovertible ground would be the salaries, because these were produced by the Anti-Money Laundering Council based on bank reports. So these are not opinions. Uh, these are bank records, and figures don't lie, records don't lie, and they are authenticated through the years. The reason I'm saying although confidential funds is also strong, they could produce, they can wiggle themselves out of it. First, they will define what is confidential funds. No? It is the nature of the beast. The name Mary Grace Piato is the nature of the beast. Aliases are allowed. They will argue that. They will say that these funds were really spent. or they would produce
So
it.
aliases are allowed.
Yes, aliases are allowed for confidential funds, but there is a difference between confidential funds or security. Kasi there is a circular of, of the COA clearly defining what is confidential funds because the DepEd is not an agency authorized to use confidential funds. It was a concession to the Vice President. But in any event, even if you do use confidential funds, let's say the Office of the Vice President or concurrently with use DepEd, you are required, after you get the information, you are required to give it to the appropriate government agency to implement. If they say it's bullying in schools and they have evidence on who are the bulliers or those who do not follow a zero bullying policy, then they report it to the NBI. They are not the implementing agency. Have there been reports to the NBI? Have there been reports to the National Police on all of this confidential information? So even just never mind the amounts involved. They will say, maliit lang naman yan, 500 million lang naman yan, and 500 million for the Office of the President, and 112 million for the DepEd. They're saying these are small amounts compared to what the congressmen have stolen from the flood control.
Oo.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the amount. No? If I may add, no, a recent case, and this is very striking, a recent case just decided February of last year involved imprisonment of 11 years of a public principal who stole 5,000 pesos. So why is 5,000 pesos compared to the billion, 6.7 billion? It establishes the principle if you're in a public office, whether elected or appointed, or even if career. This relates to 28 cement bags and you convicted for 11 years. That underscores why public funds should be accounted for, and there is a procedure for accounting. Never mind the amount. Even the procedure was not followed. The other one, to your point, the other one that's also very strong is the grave threats and the hiring of an assassin. And I understand it is so strong that NBI itself is now investigating on the possibility of filing sedition charges.
All right. Now, I think with the last one, the video has been confirmed. It was not edited. It's been a year. The NBI is still, they have leads on a suspect. But what if the defense argues that, and I'm rephrasing this, as the vice president had said, it was hypothetical in nature. Kumbaga, she did not order actively, right? The reason she had used as if mamatay ako, meaning if I am dead, then you do that. So I want you just to close this.
Yes.
What is your response to that?
Well, two things. First of all, she did say it in her own press conference, which she videoed herself. If that were not true, let's say that was part of the moment because her chief of staff was being detained in the house. The very next day, she repeated it. She repeated it the very next day and said, "I have hired an assassin," and he has said yes. The day before, she said, "No joke, no joke." If it were a joke, the next day she would have denied that it was a joke. No,
Yeah.
the very next day she said, "That threat, how can you have a threat from the grave? There is no such thing as a threat. The crime is threat, whether it is there is no such thing as conditional threat." The glaring example here, and we heard the wife of Congressman Dermot, Governor Degamo. The wife is a congressman. She said, "My husband was threatened, and he didn't take it seriously, and now he's dead." And she said it very sadly in the Committee on Justice hearing, it was her husband's birthday. So, a threat is a
It's
threat.
a threat.
There's no such thing as a conditional threat.
Okay, and I think just to close, to clear it to the viewers, our impeachment processes are actually, even the Constitution and our laws, most of it were patterned after the United States, is a threat to the president. Could you consider that impeachable?
Yes, it is impeachable. First, you are a public official, even a private individual. Remember, there was an incident where a private individual
When arrested?
was arrested simply because uttered wanted a threat against the president. Whether a private or public individual, that is public official, impeachable public officials. That already, because if it does not go into a violation, well, everything is a violation of the Constitution, but it goes to her fitness. It is a betrayal of public trust. When you even say, and to add to that, to say that you are the designated survivor, to say that there is no number one position, there's only a number two position, to say that she wanted to cut off the head of the president, to say that she will dig up the grave of the father going to the West Philippine Sea, all of this taken together should already convince even the ordinary Juan de la Cruz to say, is she the next president of the republic? She needs to go to a psychiatric investigation. In fact, NBI, in the hearing of the Committee on Justice, said she was supposed to. Twice she did not show up because my psychiatric division. In fact, this was to give her the benefit of the doubt, to see if it was just a burst or really hyperbole or hypothetical. NBI scheduled 2 psychiatric hearings with her. The first one, she refused to appear. She said she was doing her duties. We don't even know what those duties are. The second is she said, why will appear there? NBI is under the Department of Justice. Department of Justice is under the office of the President. You are biased. So the Vice President does not believe in the institutions. The NBI is biased. The House of Representatives is biased. And now we wait in suspense. If now they will say that the Senate is biased, because remember, their petition to the Supreme Court included the Senate President. So baka sabihin nila, when this case now goes to the Senate, they will say, wait a minute, we included you as respondent in our case in the Supreme Court. This is not right for the Senate to proceed.
Okay, I think very quickly, we are running out of time. I'm curious if, let's say this, if they get the votes in the plenary and if she's impeached in the House, are you possibly going to be a part of the prosecution?
I've always said that I'm always a volunteer lawyer. I'm happy to serve. But now that you mention it, after they vote on the impeachment and the articles of impeachment, they will have to choose 11 public prosecutors.
Yeah.
And with the 11 public prosecutors, I assume they will also think of private
Ano
prosecutors.
ba ang rules? I'm curious. Pag sinabing public, pwedeng po yun, pwedeng nasa House.
The public prosecutors can only come from the House.
Oo, so 11 yun.
So 11, and then
Private.
yes. The private can be the private can be as many as are willing to volunteer.
I see. And you're willing.
I was willing in the last impeachment hearings last year. I'm willing now. I'm older and wiser and more willing.
And I can sense you're also calmer.
Oh yes.
All right. Because I've known you for so many years. Right?
No, because
Okay.
kasi yung programa mo Karen, pang kalmado yan.
Okay.
You should see me in my intemperate language and other interviews. Pero
All right.
pagalang-galang ka Karen.
Okay. On that note, I want to thank you, Attorney Lorna Capunan. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me and mabuhay tayo lahat.
All right.
Ang labo. Labo ang labo. Pad stream wifi. Hindi ko makita ang ano. Ang message. Antay tayo ng ano. Senate hearing ba yun? Impeachment. Impeachment. Magbigay ako dito ng ano. Para sa nangingitim. Share screen. Live. Impeachment.
Sarap ng chocolate hazelnut ng Dutch Home Soy Secrets. Siyempre pa, tikman na.
You've got a great idea. GoDaddy has the perfect domain name to go with it.
Dapat po maging cautious at mag-ingat kayo po ay payagan nating mag-undermine ng ating saligang batas ay pinakamataas na batas sa buong bansa. A simple statute should never undermine the highest law of the land kasi magiging masamang precedent ito sa mga susunod na impeachment
Try ko mag-share
proceedings.
screen kung
Dahil wala
mag-appear.
na tayo dito, ay i-invoke itong president na ito na pwedeng harangin pala ng simpleng batas ang mandato ng konstitusyon na dapat mas. Gusto kong mailabas kung ano man ang nilalaman niya. Kasi baka may ebidensya, baka pag-dismiss ng kaso laban sa Vice President. The evidence inside that box would acquit the Vice President at hindi na siya maantala sa trabaho niya. Ngayon pa lang at hindi na tumagal ang
Ay, nawala.
impeachment na ito. Baka meron ding ebidensya na makapapatatag pa ng ebidensya at makakakumpinsi pa sa miyembro ng mga komitibang ito para mas maging matatag ang kanilang pagboto. public office is a public trust. At naniniwala ako na in every move that we take, it should always be the Constitution and the spirit of the Constitution that should govern our proceedings in this committee. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Klaro naman yung position ni Kong Dilema as well as STML Defensor. As simple as the Constitution is paramount. And this is the power behind the accountability mechanism. Tanong ko,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I join Representative De Lima in her motion na buksan ang kahon for the simple reason that Congress in its proceedings sa pagiging House Committee on Justice paghanap ng probable cause in impeachment proceedings. Supreme ito. May supremacy siya over statutes such as the tax code which provide limitations kung paano ipoproseso yung information such as tax returns. That is applicable on specific circumstances as provided by law or even in ordinary circumstances. Pero the impeachment proceedings are not mere ordinary circumstances na maaaring mas ipantay or even pababain sa level ng statute. Ang fear ko po, Madam Chair, and that's why I'm also raising this manifestation, lahat po ng ginagawa natin dito will set a precedent in the future. Should there be similar impeachment proceedings kung saan tatanungin ano yung extent ng kayang gawin ng House Committee on Justice, they might look on April 29, 2026 at ang desisyon ng House Committee on Justice na mas limitahan ang kanyang kakayahang mag-imbestiga ng naaayon doon sa pag-establish ng probable cause ng impeachable official. They might look at this and say, dito, out of caution na hindi makasuhan, etc., they decided conservatively. And if continuously in history we will decide conservatively, mas lilimitahan at mas lilimitahan yung kapangyarihan ng hindi lang po ng House Committee on Justice, pero ang pagtingin ko, at pag-appreciate ko din, this branch of power, the legislature. So, this manifestation is in support of the balance of powers na dapat na i-exercise ng legislature na naaayon sa Constitution, na hindi po dapat natin tinatali yung ating mga kamay para hindi magawa yung dapat naman pong nakalagay sa highest law of the land, kaya natin gawin. That is all, Madam Chair.
the last justice member to manifest on this is Congressman Terry Ridon from Bicol Saro Party List.
Hindi ko lahat naman po tayo ay gusto mabuksan itong box na ito. Kung nga dahil nakamatay po ito sa constitutional power natin po bilang impeachment proceeding sa PINA documents like DNR documents. Pero ang kailangan po natin nga pagpasyahan ngayon, sapat na po ba ang mga ebidensya na nilatag ngayong araw po na ito para magkaroon ng finding of probable cause on unexplained death? Hindi ko even without opening the box. Sapat-sapat na po, sobra-sobra pa nga yung pong nailatag na ebidensya noong nakaraang linggo. Balikan po natin ulit ito. Ang laman po ng AMLAC report, which was never denied by the Carpio complaint, 6.77 billion total transactions, 4.4 billion in inflows, pumasok na pera sa mga bangko na magkasawang Duterte Carpio, 1.5 billion in outflows na hindi mo natin makita sa SALN ng pangalawang Pangulo, 2.8 billion in net inflows na dapat ay nananatili sa kanilang mga bangko pero hindi nakalahad sa SALN ng pangalawang Pangulo. Sugit po natin yung SALN mismo. Bakit po ito sapat na ebidensya nakalagay sa SALN for 2024, 88.5 million pesos lamang po. On those two pieces of evidence and reports pa lamang po, mga kaibigan, sapat-sapat na sobra-sobra pa po. Ito pong finding of probabilities. This particular section of the impeachment proceeding will go straight to the Senate. Sigurado po tayo dyan. I'm quite certain that this box will be open at the level of trial. So, Madam Chair, hindi ko, kung wala naman po nga kailangan po pag-usapan, magandang pagbotohan na po natin yung bagay na ito.
Our parliamentary status, the Honorable De Lima already moved to open the BIR box. And then we heard the different positions of the justice members. And we continue to hear because I could see members still raising their hand.
Madam Chair.
Can we call Honorable Marcoleta first? Honorable Marcoleta is a non-member of justice. To manifest her position as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for highlighting my being a non-member of this committee. But
I
nonetheless,
highlighted also
I
that
have
you
every
have
right
the
to speak.
privilege to manifest your position.
Thank you po.
Because that is according to our rules, Honorable Marcoleta.
Including the highlighting of being a non-member. Kasama po yun.
The rule that non-members cannot raise a motion and cannot vote, but they
Opo.
can manifest. And that is observed in all committees in the House of
Madam Chair, I did not say
Representatives.
that I'm about to make a motion. Wala nang po akong sinabi. Anyway, ma'am, magandang hapon po sa
Madam Chair,
sa
Madam
committee
Chair,
na ito.
Madam Chair,
Is that a point of order?
yes, this point of order. I just would like to find out if he is a she or a he because you have been mentioning her.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Let